their concerns are swept under the rug.
It's too much money to organic fill.
There's still people saying that it doesn't cost any money to maintain, even though it's been proven and it's been brought to these people.
You bring it up to the people, you say, okay, how much are we going to save in maintenance? And they'll give you the figure of 30,000, maybe 40,000. Okay, we're going to save, we're not going to spend that money. We're going to put that in a separate fund, because in 10 years we're going to have to replace the field. Okay, how much money is going to be in that fund? Oh, about 300,000, 400,000. Okay, it's going to be $1 million to replace it, so what are we going to do for that other 600,000? We're going to wait 10 years and just pay it all at once, or are we going to put an extra $60,000 away every year? So there's really no saving in the maintenance, because that money has to be reinvested for down the line when add the construction cost. And God forbid, after our 10 years, we look at the base and we realize there's an issue with the base. If you have to get in there and replace the base, I mean, when you initially install a field, half of that cost is just setting up the base. So now all of a sudden that's maybe a $200,000 to $300,000 expense you didn't expect to have to pay. It can get real pricey, and nobody's really looking toward. Everyone's like, oh, we'll just add a little experience, some adverse effect, and everyone just kind of hopes that might hit. And they just hope that the people in charge are doing what they think is best.
Kid in the Bristol press comments was saying that, well, you don't have to make your kid play on that. You have a choice.
Well, it's the same kind of mentality that people have.
Well, it's like, are we going to have a league in town that's going to be all grass? And are we going to have the turf? There's no real choice. I love sports. I hate the business of it. When you see these stadiums for $1 billion being built, they're cutting teachers at the same time. Like, I used to love the memories. But after seeing what they did to Cobb County to move their stadium over there, and in fact, they just cut 140 teachers from that school district. But they got $600 million to build a stadium for this franchise built by Liberty Media Corporation. It's too bad.
What we're dealing with is we are driven by our local and federal governments who take our money and then give it back to us with directives as to how to use it or set conditions on how to get. All that has to do with overreach. I mean, government, taking care of infrastructure, print money, collect taxes, those things are the basic things they should do, not all these other extraneous projects they get involved in, and they direct our lives through that. I don't know that there's probably so much momentum there now that to reverse it is probably next to impossible. But it's a conversation that should begin.
Well, it's educating people, and it's getting people into government that believe as we do.
Right. Well, people don't associate the fact that they don't have enough money to, go out to the movies at the end of the month or go out to eat anymore with the fact that they're paying more for their electricity and their taxes. They don't know why they're paying more for their electricity.
Constitutional jurisdiction. What is the responsibility of the federal government? They've overreached all over the place. What's the responsibility of the state government under their constitution?
I don't want them taking my money deciding where it should go in a charitable way. I made things I may not agree with, and I think we all have things that fall into those categories. But I want to give it to where I want it to go. I want to use it locally, my government, my local government, to benefit our community. And even there, it has to be limited to the basic things that government's responsible for, not directing our lives, which is exactly what they do with the dollar. The dollar is
well, something needs to happen, because if we continue with the status quo, then there's no surprise to me why things don't change.
But the federal government has set up situations where there is no control. You mentioned EPA a while ago. They did something with. There's a totally unaccountable, immensely powerful group. Federal Reserve's another one. And certain powers are calling through them to take it out of jurisdictions so that it can't be controlled by any law.
Stop.
Exactly.
The loss of your representation, your ability to.
How do we get representation back?
Yeah, I mean, how do you keep it from further away. I mean, that's the direction that we're headed right now.
You have to accept the fact that
We
you're
got
going
transit
to
corridor authorities coming and saying, we're going to take control of all development within a half a mile radius.
11 people.
Well, and
this-
it's just being allowed by the local representatives, by the
Sure.
local town council.
Well, the transit
So
corridor
you really have to have a self-sufficient community that's willing to be a net payer, a net taxpayer and not net tax receiver, because that's how you cut the carrot on the string. You know, if they keep dangling that carrot in front of you, but it's like, you know what, I don't want your grant money.
But again,
I don't
again-
want a bus line. Use it or lose it.
We have an enterprise zone, Plainville has the housing incentive zone, New Britons is in that, they're all in areas of concentrated poverty. Those are the growth areas, the areas where they want to create growth. So all those zones are codified in the state legislature to allow people to develop and not pay taxes.
You're taking an awful lot of taxpayer dollars and you're throwing it into a project that's potentially a boondoggle.
Isn't it funny that they call it workforce housing? The workforce that they're building housing for is people that can't afford to have a car. You know, the woman at that council of governments meeting said all these developments where they're trying to encourage communities to reduce the amount of parking that they need. So the standard is one car per
unit parcel, or whatever they call it.
So, but if you look in the state level, you're looking at basically, actually, if you just even look at transit ridership, 20 to 30% is low income. You know, below $25,000 a year. These are people without cars. So 25% of that housing, I think 20% is the earmark for what the state is using for affordable. That's what their goals are anyway, according to what this advocacy group speaker said.
80-20, right?
Huh?
80-20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all downtown Hartford, all along the CT Fast Track. There's over 1,000 apartments that have been built so far, all funded either through loans or grants with state money, and that's all of them, 80-20, 80% market rate, and the other 20% affordable.
So that's
and then some of them are even built,
And
it's
you
like
have to have
200.
that percentage in order to get the tax credits.
Right, because you can't do that, so the state or the federal government says, we won't give you
But
this
they won't
money.
let it go. I think you can't go farther than, I think, 65-35. There's like a break point where they want a certain amount. If you go over that percentage, and I think they base it off of 20 units per acre or 25 units per acre.
Yeah, I'm not even
So I know there's a threshold where they want to make sure that it's within their control.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it seems like. They want to introduce, you know, this low income, but not too much to overwhelm it.
Yep.
Like they're trying to be perfect social engineers.
Exactly.
I'm sure it's not going to, you know, everything else they try to do.
Even downtown, when they were giving the
That's it.
presentation, they said that Bristol's, the regular population is having less children, right? So the American population isn't having enough to reproduce itself, to sustain itself. So, but they still said they're expecting an influx, and they said of Hispanics. So I'm guessing that they're just expecting immigration from Mexico, or because you see that happen in Waterbury. You see it happen.
Central, the top of South America, Central America, yeah, they put it out on the map. This is what they tell you, this is what's going to happen, is what you see on the news. They're preparing you.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
That's
Then they look smart for predicting it.